Hello, everyone, and happy terrific Tuesday. It's like one of those days. I'm like, what day of the week is it? It is Tuesday, and I am really excited because my amazing friend, the one and only, seen here with me, Kezia Luckett, has an incredible book launch tomorrow, and I am so excited to share about it with you. And as part of the Money family, I'm going to inspire everyone to ensure that this book hits international bestseller in every country that we all are, right? So I'm going to be posting the link in a little bit, and then it's going to be it's on Kindle for a few days for 99 cents, Kezia.
That's right. Well, 99p. I think in the US it's just over $1.
Okay. Yeah, that's chicken feed for us.
Well, I was going
Money
to say your
family.
money manifestors is a drop in the ocean.
It's a drop in the ocean. We got that. Okay, here they all are. All right, so as you're all joining us, can you just say hi? Let us know who's here. Give us some, just let it, we're going to have kind of like a fire chat conversation. So it's really nice to know. Hey, Jennifer, it's really nice to know. Oh, wow. Somebody named Tasha Chen just posted Kezia's book here.
I tell you, they are so organized, these Tasha Chen people.
Hey, the other Tasha Chen. Well, thank you.
Love it.
Oh my gosh. All right. So if you're watching, can you say hi just so that we know you're here? And if you're watching the replay, say hello to, hey, Jamie. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Looks like, let's see, Barbara. Hey, Barbara. Oh my gosh, Barbara. It's been a while. So happy to have you. So I am going to start off our share, Kezia, with a story that I feel I've told. I at least tell it every time you launch one of these series. One of the books in your series, and it's never old. It's like getting ready for us to talk this morning. I literally was transported right back. So let me set the stage for y'all. I am on a business trip to London. I've done an event. I'm all on a high. I'm like all empowered and, feeling like, yeah, I got my stuff together. And I had just met Kezia, and she had just launched her first book in the Pay It Forward series. And I happened to have met some of the authors that were in the book at this particular event that I was speaking at. So it was kind of like, oh, wow, I know these people. I know some of these women in the book. So I was especially intrigued to read their stories. So I hop on a plane. I'm on a little commuter plane from some small airport in London to an even smaller airport in the countryside of France. And I'm reading the book, and it's one of those planes. There's like four seats across, right? So I'm at the window. There's this very, very British man sitting next to me, and then two others across the aisle. I am a crying wreck. I'm reading the book and I am breaking down, sobbing like uncontrollably, because here I was reading my story through the experiences of women that I knew and other women that I had never met. And I don't know if you've ever had kind of that experience where it's like, wow, that's my life. But what it was reading the story, there were things that I was not willing to acknowledge in especially my experience at the time. I wasn't willing to hold the mirror up and go, that's what's going on here, Missy. I wasn't willing to do it, but I was reading the stories of these women, and it was like, wow, that she's going through exactly what I'm going through. I cannot hide anymore. I am really in a very bad situation. I'm in a very bad situation. And I read to the point of, not only did I have the awareness through the other women's stories, but I had a big breakthrough that day. And it's no coincidence that I get off the plane, having read these stories, total mess. By the way, the guy next to me could not wait for the plane to land. It's like I don't know what to do with this woman, right? She is guys can't handle very emotional women.
This American woman is
Yeah,
very emotional.
yeah, and he doesn't know me. And I mean, I'm not holding back. I couldn't hold back. It was so raw for me. So I get off my flight, and I'm scheduled to be picked up because I'm in the countryside of France for a retreat. And I've traveled all over the world. I've been here, there, and everywhere. Where I land in this airport in my very emotional state, and there's no one to pick me up. And then the fog starts setting in. It's getting dark. Everyone's leaving. And never in my life they announce, we're now closing the airport. I'm like, who closes an airport? Like, airports get closed. It's like 5 p.m. Yep, we're locking up. The 2 planes have arrived today. We're done. Oh my gosh, I break out in this incredible panic. I'm calling across the world. I'm calling everybody, like, no one's here to pick me up. What's going on? And I walk out, and I remember clear as day just hearing, you are scared that you've been abandoned, right? You have this incredible fear. And literally, the second the awareness came to my mind, all the coinciding evidence to back it up throughout my life was like, yep, this is how you operate when you are, in this fear of being abandoned. And yeah, we're going to put these 2 scenarios together. So reading the women's stories where I was not honoring the reality of my relationship, and then backing that up with the realization that I was, being actually fear of abandonment was a very serious thing for me. I was like, oh my gosh, that's why I stayed. That's why I stayed, knowing what was going on, putting on blinders to the facts that were plain as day for me, was because I was so in fear. And so I just want to say that was a breakthrough moment for me in my life. And kudos to the women who wrote so vulnerably their stories, and also left me inspired that I could do it. I really could move past the heaviness and the weightiness of my own experience. And so I've set the stage to say, there's another book. There's a whole other book that's about to launch tomorrow in the Pay It Forward series. And the title of the book is Notes to My Younger Self. All I can tell you is every single person, I want to say women, but I know you have some incredible stories of men who've read the books and have had like massive awareness and transformation. Every single woman should read all the books in the series, and especially the one that's coming out tomorrow, because one of the ladies from our money family, Esther Rowan Wells, is one of the authors, one of the book sisters in this book, and her story is wowza. Like,
big wowzers.
it is wowzers. I haven't. I like literally. I'm waiting for my copy to come because I want to. That she's probably the only person I know in this book this time, but I know bits of her story, and I cannot wait to read what she reveals. And so I have Kezia on today because I would love for you to share, Kezia, this project. It's not a project. It's a movement. It's like your heart's desire. What is it about the Pay It Forward series? What's your mission for it?
Oh gosh, so our mission, and it's a collective mission. Every single person that's part of this book is behind this mission, and the readers as well. It doesn't just stop with the authors; is to positively impact on 1 billion lives.
And 1 billion.
1 billion. We don't go small. It's like play.
Yeah.
So 1 billion lives. Not only through the authors paying forward their stories, like lovely Esther, but also the readers as well, because in the paperback version, there's an opportunity to pay it forward. There's a process that you go through so that you can become, part of the global movement of paying it forward. And slowly it's been making its way around the world. We've got 65 authors in 16 different countries.
Wow.
And obviously our gorgeous readers who are reading it and taking it on holiday with them and leaving it, So Are you happy for me to go through how people leave it?
Yes, absolutely. Well, let me start by saying, in preparation for this live, I went to my library to go show you my copies, and I stood there for 10 minutes. I couldn't find any. And I was like, that's kind of the point. So please
You
share.
shouldn't have it. I mean,
You
I have them
shouldn't have it.
left, right, center, but the idea is, like I say, the authors and we can touch on that a little bit more, but the authors are courageous heroes for starters. Obviously you ladies know the lovely Esther, and you will be blown away by her story, but they are courageous heroes. Each and every one of them have stepped forward to share their stories because they believe that if it helps just one person, not only the 1 billion, but we start with one. If it helps just one person to be able to have a roadmap to navigate out the darkness that they're currently in, or to understand that there is light at the end of the tunnel, then we've done our job.
Right.
That's the main thing. But once the reader has finished reading it, if you go with the paperback version, there is a little message box here that you write your own message of hope and inspiration. And then you put a post-it note on the front that says, this book's for you, read it, love it, pay it forward. And you leave it for a stranger to find. And the idea is that the right people will pick up the book at the right time, and they'll get a message from a complete and utter stranger who might not necessarily know what they're going through right now, but they will take comfort from that. And there will be some goodness within the book that they can draw upon, like you did on that flight to France. I mean, that poor guy, that poor guy.
And the airport staff when they tried to close the airport with me alone in it. But one of the things that like I said, reading that first volume was an incredible life breakthrough experience for me. And as you just shared that, I thought to myself, I've really taken for granted the number of people that just that awareness within myself has impacted, because I started talking openly about my traumatic relationship that I found myself in and would not read the writing on the wall. And then, connecting the dots that I'm not doing that because I'm fearful of being abandoned. I would rather stay in this really bad situation instead of walking away, because that's going to mean, or allowing the person to walk away, or telling them to go, right? Because that's going to mean I'm going to be abandoned yet again. And so I just think about just me openly talking about that. All the women that it's almost, I feel like I've given permission, I've set free, I've opened them up to really look like I was not willing to look at my situation, to look at their situation. I know, and if you just think I'm just one person that this book has impacted. And the other thing that I want to say was I had so much fun leaving the books behind and almost like making stories up in my head about who's going to find it at just the right time in their life, the impact it's going to make on them, the shift in trajectory of their life because they found this book and read the really amazing stories of the authors. So are you at liberty to share like any 2 or 3 like incredible, you don't have to tell us the names of the authors, but just almost like, this is why you need to read this book, because these are the types of stories and the level of courage that the authors have gone through in sharing?
I mean, as I said before, it goes without saying, it takes a huge amount of courage, because they're not just writing a story for a book. There are many beautiful anthologies out there with some amazing stories of different people stepping forward. But every single author that steps forward for this particular book, they go through a process, and my process called mind conditioning therapy, which is all about releasing the emotions associated with a moment of adversity, and actually being able to take the gold out of it, taking the gold out of it to be able to empower us for the future. So that's the first thing to say, that they are courageous in a whole new way.
Yeah.
And you've been through the process. It's not faint-hearted.
It's not. It is not. And I went through it in private sessions with you, right? This is like a next level. Like, I've now documented my darkest moments. I've documented the way it's played out in my life for a long time and shared it with the entire world.
Mm.
That's serious level of courage. And you know, Kezia, like, what is the, I mean, obviously you don't go, so what's your darkest moment? You know, like, how do they come up with the story to tell, to share?
So most people go, oh, I know which story I'm going to share. They come into this and they go, oh, yes, I know exactly which one we're going to share. And sometimes they're right. Sometimes they choose the right story. But I take them through a process called memory mapping. And it's done in a certain way to be able to discover the trigger memory, the key memory that has created a belief, a fear, something that's holding them back from truly embracing their mission on this earth, truly stepping forward and making a difference. Once we discover the trigger memory, then we can start from there to unravel the story. And 9 times out of 10, that's where the story starts. I will say the lovely Esther has done things differently.
Yes,
And she's
yes.
like, so proud that she's done things
She
differently.
is.
Of course, because that's who she is. Most people's stories start, quite far back into, into the past. Esther's kind of dips in and out. But yeah, you once you've done the memory mapping, you can start to join the dots. And oftentimes when we go through those moments of adversity, it is only in the hindsight of time that we can look back and we go, aha, that's the reason that I went through that, because I needed to learn that lesson, because then that took me on to this piece, which then took me on to this piece. And it literally, you can start to join the dots. And once you start to join the dots, you can see how synchronicity, the hand of God, plays out in all aspects of our lives, and take some solace in that.
Yeah. I think that's the beauty of reading the stories of the authors, is that we get to see that in their stories. We get to see the dots being connected. We get like a window into, wow, imagine this seemingly catastrophic, very dark, life experience. And then we go on this journey where it all makes sense for them as we're reading. But it also gives us an opportunity to start to see some of that in our lives, in our own lives, which for me was really powerful. As you're talking about all this, it's like I'm having the fresh memory of going right back to working with you, doing my memory map, like really, really sitting with, I mean, I have an entire notebook of shit.
I mean, I will just tell you that Tasha, most people is just like, I'm just going to spend a couple of hours doing this. I think you did 8 hours.
8 hours.
8
We
hours.
were like, okay, so go off and do this for an hour. I didn't pick my kid up from school. I called somebody to pick him up. I like canceled all my calls. I was like, if there's one thing about me, Kezia, I'm going to do the work.
Oh, you certainly did the work.
I'm going to do the work. And that's why I'm really excited for everyone. So I'm going to put the link here because I want you all to make sure you get your copy. Let's make this an international bestseller within the next 24 hours. Tomorrow is the official launch date, but we can all get the Kindle version for 99 cents. And I really feel that if you came across this video, there's a reason. There's a story in that book that is meant to support you on your journey, meant to connect some dots for you, meant to free you, meant to give you solace. Like Kezia says, I think one of the things that I've grown to appreciate in my life is knowing what's going on. I don't think there's anything more scary than when you're in the middle of the unknown, when it seems really like the world is falling apart. Like my husband sometimes has to go, babe, like just take me and go, everything's safe. The world is not falling apart, But I know that feeling very well. And I think when you're in one of those moments and you can read someone else's journey and recognize that everything's okay, and it might not resolve all of your stuff in the moment, but just that peace that comes with that. I'm really excited to hear the stories that are going to come from you all when you get your own copy. And I want to I'm reading comments and I'm getting distracted. Okay, Kezia. So why should we get this version, right? There's 3 others in the series. The Pay It Forward series has 3 other
Yes, yeah,
books.
this is number 4.
Number 4.
I mean, there's such a variety of different stories, from redefining what beauty means through
Wow.
to, healing themselves from kind of life-threatening illnesses, through to, Esther's courageous journey of transformation and what it really takes to have the mindset. And I'm not going to obviously say what that is, but to have the mindset to navigate what she's gone through to dealing with many mental pressures, mental well-being pressures that come with cancer, and a variety of different things that seem to pile on one after another. And it does, there could be this tendency to say, well, my goodness, that sounds like that's really heavy, it's all doom and gloom, I'm not going to be able to cope with that.
Yeah.
But it's been written in such a way that you can just feel through every fiber of your being what happens when we navigate through these things and we come out the other side, and we do come away with hope and wisdom and knowledge and inspiration, and how we can use that for our own lives. So I always remember, and I can't even remember which book it was or who it was, but I remember getting a text message from somebody, and her husband had sent it to her, and he had sillily picked up the book to go to the toilet, like men do, so they've got something to read.
Yeah.
And she'd received this text message saying, oh my gosh, what is going on? I'm like sitting on the toilet crying. And he was just like reading these stories, just sobbing and sobbing because of the joy and because of the understanding of what some of those authors had been through. And sometimes we just need a blooming good cry, like you did on that flight.
Yeah. And sometimes, the crying is the acknowledgement of the deeper stuff that we blind ourselves to, we don't want to acknowledge. And I can tell you that summer, that day changed the trajectory of my life. That cry, that like, yep, this is my shit. this is just my stuff. Like, I didn't even know fear of abandonment. Honestly, it sounds so like everybody knows that. It was God that said that to me, because I'd never heard that term. I started researching it and I was like, this is really a thing. Wow, God, you're pretty smart. But it changed everything for me. And I don't know. Did you all see the link? Can you all tell me? Got the book. I want every single person. And you know what? The purpose of this book is for you to read it and truly get what you get from it, have the trajectory of your life be changed, celebrate the success and the wins of the authors, and see yourself in their stories. And the real power is to pay it forward, is to leave it someplace. Yeah.
And
Brenda got it. Woohoo!
Thank you, Brenda. And even on the Kindle version, you can pay it forward. I mean, I'd like to say that Amazon knew what we were doing and created this for us, but I don't think they did. You can actually purchase one for somebody else. On the right hand side, there's a little tick box that says gift, and you just need to put somebody's email address in that you wish to send it to, and it sends them an email just to say that you've purchased a copy for them, and it will be delivered to them either through a Kindle app or actually a Kindle.
Oh my gosh. I did not know that. About to go. Here's my arriving December 16th is my hard copy. I'm going to go back in here and do that. Excuse me. Right now. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, well, I like I say, it must be something new because I'd not seen it before, but it's just like, I can send this as a gift. You just tick the box, you put an email in, and you can send it off.
Wow. All right, here we go. So who else got it? Are you guys seeing the link? I think the link is posted at the top of all of the comments, but I also just posted it. And I'm going to put it here again. And if you're watching on YouTube and you're not seeing the link, can you please just message me? Oh, you know what? It is posting on YouTube, not Facebook. All right,
The
here we go.
joys, the joys.
The joys. So there we go. I just posted it now on Facebook so that everyone here can see it. All right, my love, I'm really excited for you, for all the authors, for tomorrow's big launch, for the way that this is going to make a ripple effect in the world. 1 billion lives impacted. That's a pretty badass mission. Go you. I'm like, gosh, I got to get my journal and dream bigger. Oh my gosh. But yeah, any parting thoughts, Kezia, as you know, just wrap yourself around tomorrow's a big day. You've put your heart and soul into supporting these authors to bring their stories out to the world. And for all the people who are going to read it, you know, what are your just thoughts or insights or expectations that they can have that you want to share?
So it takes real courage to be vulnerable. It really does. It takes courage to be vulnerable and share your story. But I read recently that courage is infectious. And when we are vulnerable, we give permission to others to be the same and do the same. So even if it just means that one person reads the story and it gives them the courage to speak up and speak out about what they're going through, or sharing the story with somebody else that may be going through something similar, then we can have our own impact. I mean, that 1 billion lives isn't just about the book. It's about all of the individual readers that just say, do you know what? I read this story and, you know, I'm going through something myself, or I read this story and it impacted on my life. I'd love to share it with you. Each and every one of your community, each and every person that's watching this, you know, courage is infectious. And if you can be vulnerable with somebody else, you know, mistakes, failures, adversity, they're all part of the human experience. There is nobody that's getting out of this life without going through them. So rather than hide them, we need to share them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to, as I listened to you just now, Kezia, I thought to myself, one of the things that we practice in the Money family is we're really committed to being intentional. And I stand by that so powerfully that I want to inspire everyone to just pause for a moment and think, where do I need courage right now in my life? Where do I need courage? Where do I need a breakthrough? What is an area of my life that I'm just not getting to the other side? You know, could be your health, could be in your relationship, could be in the way you see yourself. Like, I can't wait to read the story about redefining beauty. You know, it could be in your business, in your finances. It's like, I'm just not having the courage I know I need to have, or I'm just not having the breakthrough. And be really intentional that you are ready to get some inspiration to take you to the other side, and then purchase the book, because we don't know what the stories are. Because he is like my sister practically, and I do not know. And one of her authors is my client, and I don't even know what her story is in the book. But what I do know is, if you're intentional about what you're going to get before you purchase the book, you will get it.
Most
I know that for a fact. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Maxine. I'm sorry. Thank you. All right. Well, we've done our part. We've put it out there. Please get the book, get the Kindle version, and check that box and put a bunch of emails. It's $1. Have it be a holiday gift to lots of people in your life, and pay it forward this season. Mwah. Thank you, my sister.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Take care.